Hi everyone, it's me Gaming 2, and it's been a while since we've done a 20 questions, hasn't it? Yeah, it's been over half a year, and we have yet to do a traditional 20 questions in the year 2024 so far. So, yeah, I'm definitely very excited to return to the world of 20 questions, and well, you've waited long enough, so let's get on into it. 20 questions, part 27 at long last. Question number 1. How is your 2024 so far? Way better than 2022 and 2023. There have been a couple of things that have kept it from being an incredible year. It actually kind of mainly has to do with me, but no, I'd say for the most part, 2024 has been a pretty good year compared to 2022 and 2023. A lot more progress is being made this year in my personal life, as this year is probably the biggest year of my entire life. Is a year of change for me. A lot of adult things are happening, like jobs, and I'm working on getting my driver's license and stuff like that, and I sort of teased it that I wanted to do it before, but now it's finally coming to fruition. So a lot of progress is being made, and yeah, it's incredible. That does mean though that YouTube, I made a video about this last month, but I'm not gonna quite have the time for YouTube that I used to and stuff like that, so definitely expect a little bit of a cut down in general, but you'll still definitely see my content overall, and I'll be on here for a nice while, but I am without question cutting down, and I may stop some of my series too, like especially GD Plush, because we're gonna get into that in question number 6 more in detail, but it's just because I think GD Plush is a series I've been doing for 7 years, and I'm not really too interested in doing plush videos anymore, so I'm gonna put it to rest. That said, I do want to refilm the series finale because it's the end of a series I've been doing for 7 years, so I really want to give you as good of a series finale as possible. Now it's definitely going to be coming out sometime in September. Definitely within the first half, though. You're getting the series finale pretty soon. And I also want to make Season 9 20 episodes rather than the 19 I had planned. I have a video that is going to be coming out probably within the next 2 or 3 days. It's going to be a Preston video. And then I want to do one more video that's going to sort of be about, I don't know, I'm leaning between one of the girls or Luigi, getting one last video to end off the series. And then the series finale will probably be out probably after my 23rd birthday sometime, but before like the 15th, probably between the 9th and the 15th. But you'll be getting that soon, and I've been rambling on. I'm going to get it more into detail with that with question 6. So let's move on to question 2. Number 2, do you watch WWE? Yes, I do. As of this year, me, my mother, and my stepfather have really gotten back into the WWE after all the details that came out about Vince McMahon, the creep, and stuff like that. So, after he left, we decided to watch it again, and honestly, I'm starting to see some improvements. I used to be obsessed with WWE back in the early 2010s, especially 2011 and 12 and 13. When Raw's 1000th episode came on, there wasn't many television premieres that I was more excited for than the Raw 1000th episode. I believe it was in 2013. I was in Canada, actually, when that came on, and it came on at a very different time. I think it was much later. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I stayed up till 1 in the morning. There, I think it came on at 8, where I was from, but 10 o'clock were when I was in Canada, so I had to watch it at 10 o'clock at night, and I think it was like almost 1 in the morning before I went to bed. So, yeah, it's a very big memory for me, and I gotta say, modern WWE is awesome. My favorite modern wrestler is Cody Rhodes. I thought I was actually getting a little bit bored of him at first, but then he's such a really good wrestler, and I love his wrestling persona and stuff like that. Like, he's the American Nightmare and stuff like that. He just seems like such a humble guy, too. Like, he seems like he'd be really nice to meet out in public and stuff like that. My favorite diva is Rhea Ripley. I think she's freaking awesome. Mammy, as they call her. And my favorite wrestler of all time, though, I think is The Rock. I just love his freaking attitude and his personality and stuff like that. He's so cool. But yeah, I watch the WWE, and that's one of the only things on television I consistently watch every week nowadays. Because I don't watch much TV outside the WWE. If I do, it's actually kind of to watch the NFL or Premier League or soccer in general and stuff like that. So I mainly watch sports now on TV, believe it or not. But, yeah. I do watch WWE every week, and I love it probably more than I did back in the early 2010s. Number 3, why are you not uploading as often as you did in late 2023, early 2024? Well, that's a very simple answer, but it's got more to it than you'd think. It has to do with a mix of just things in my life happening and stuff like that. So I don't have as much time to upload as I used to. But the main reason actually is just because I don't have the idea train going as much as I did back then. Say January 2024, the first month of this year, I was uploading a series video all the time. Now, I'd say pretty soon you'd be lucky to get one series video a week, if that. And it's just the way it is, you know. Everybody grows up, and when you get a job and stuff like that, you're not going to have as much time for the activities you used to do when you were younger. So it's a good thing. I know it may be disappointing for some of my audience and stuff like that I'm not going to be uploading as much as I used to, but it is what it is, you know? I'm not abandoning you guys or anything, it's just there's more to life than just YouTube. You know? So, yeah. Not just the important stuff coming in my life, there's just other activities I like to do too. Like, I like to clay model, I like to read books, I like to watch wrestling and stuff like that. So, YouTube, as much as I love, and I still love and adore my channel, there's just other things in my life that I want to focus on as well. So I won't be uploading nearly as much as I did at that point. Maybe ever again. So, Yeah, but I'll still be around. You'll still see me on the channel. It's just not going to be as often. Number 4, what would you like to do for a permanent career? I think it's gotta be a dog groomer. In the past 4 or 5 months, I've been doing a lot of research on dog grooming because I realized I love my dogs to death and I'd do anything for them. And, well, with that comes with the fact that, if I wanted to have a big career, what would it be? At first I thought of vet, but then I realized you gotta put animals to sleep at a vet, and I do not have the heart to do that, and I never would do that. So, yeah, I don't want to work as a vet. But a dog groomer, you don't have to do that. You may have to, like, refer them to a vet on occasion, but, you get to cut dogs' hair, you get to bathe them, you get to do their nails and stuff like that. I am a bit scared if, like, a Cane Corso or a Doberman or Rottweiler or Pit Bull comes in, because sometimes they can be pretty temperamental dogs, but with the right owners, any dog breed can be super friendly. So I know that going into this. But yeah, I really want to be a dog groomer. I'd love to open up my own service, serve all the dogs around my area, give them nice baths, and give them nice haircuts. It just sounds like a place that I'd love going to work every day for. So, yeah, I'd love to be a dog groomer as my permanent career in life. Number 5, what's your favorite fast food place? That's tough, because I like fast food. I like home cooking more, honestly, but I do like fast food on occasion. If I had to pick one that I love going to more than just about anything else, it would depend if it's like, fast food, the drive-in, stuff like that, or it's fast, but you gotta sit down. It takes a little longer, because if you count Five Guys as fast food, that's my favorite. I could eat Five Guys burgers and fries every single day of the week and never get tired of them. With their Coke mix machine that they got with all different types of different Cokes and Sprites and Mellow Yellows and stuff like that. And then you got all the different combinations you can put on your burgers with, like, up to 3 or 4 patties and stuff like that. I don't generally get a triple. I generally get a double cheeseburger, but I generally get mushrooms, caramelized onions, pickles, lettuce, tomatoes, and regular onions, and mayo and ketchup. Perfect for me. And I get usually a medium fry. I usually have to take like 60% of it home with me because I can't eat it, and I always make the mistake that I should get the small fry. But yeah, I love Five Guys, but we're not counting Five Guys. If we're not counting Five Guys, I would have to probably say Wendy's is my favorite, like, drive-through fast food place. They just got the best quality. They have excellent burgers, excellent chicken sandwiches, excellent chicken nuggets. You name it, pretty much everything at Five Guys is excellent. I can't really complain. Or did I say Five Guys? Wendy's. Everything at Wendy's is pretty much perfect. Hey, I get brain farts every once in a while, guys. You have to excuse me. But yeah, I would say it's either Five Guys if you want to go and sit down for a while, but it's Wendy's if it's just quickly pick something up. I love Wendy's. Number 6, when will GD Plus end? Here we go, the big question that I hinted at. GD Plus is going to end extremely likely sometime in September. The plan is to release 3 more videos that I have planned. One is going to be a Preston video. One is probably either going to be a Peach, Rosalina, or Luigi related video. I feel like there are 3 of the characters that are in the main cast, so I think one of those 3 should get a final episode. I'm thinking Luigi, but I'm also thinking maybe Rosalina as well. I'm not sure. And then we're going to get the series finale sometime in the middle of September, probably. So, yeah. GD Plus is ending very soon. I already kind of explained why, so I'm not going to be redundant, but yeah, GD Plus is ending sometime next month. Number 7, what new shows are you watching? I'm not really watching too many new shows, honestly, but I am putting on episodes of No Reservations with Anthony Bourdain. They're very cool travel shows and stuff like that. I was just watching the episode where he went to Romania and went to like the Bran Castle and stuff like that. It's a really cool show if you're into travel and stuff like that, but since the last 20 questions, I started watching, like I said, WWE consistently again. I'll put on Premier League, soccer, and any sort of soccer program, and I'll put on any sort of NFL. Not really any NFL, mainly Lions games, but, yeah, that's basically what I watch on TV nowadays. Not really too many news shows, but there's my take on that. Number 8, Simpsons or Family Guy? As a whole, I would definitely choose The Simpsons over Family Guy. In its prime, I definitely think The Simpsons it stomps the living crap out of Family Guy. Very modern Simpsons, like I'd say the past 5 or 6 seasons. It's just about the worst it's ever been, in my personal opinion. It's very, very boring, almost. Like, I don't know, the jokes just don't land as good as they used to, guess you could say. Family Guy, on the other hand, like, peaked in its first 5 seasons, and then after that just went to complete garbage. And only recently semi-recovered. Like, the modern Family Guy episodes that are coming out now are definitely better than they were in, like, the early 2010s to, like, the mid-2010s and stuff like that. But, yeah, I definitely prefer The Simpsons overall. Simpsons Golden Age is my favorite adult cartoon behind the best seasons of South Park. South Park is my favorite as a whole, but I would say The Simpsons is definitely my second favorite. It's just, the humor is not as vulgar as Family Guy or South Park, but it's so much more witty and well put together, I guess you can say, that sometimes I just feel like Family Guy swears and does shock humor just for the sake of it. I don't really feel like that for The Simpsons too often. On occasion it does that, but Simpsons, in my opinion, is just comedy for comedy, in my opinion. Number 9, have you seen Hazbin Hotel? Yes, I've seen a few episodes of the show. It was a very popular show towards the beginning of the year. I haven't seen it all. My favorite character is Charlie, and, it's been a while since I've seen it. I watched it in March, I believe, so I honestly don't remember too much of what is going on, but it's basically like kind of Lucifer's hotel and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's pretty good from what I've seen. I think it's a tiny bit overrated, honestly. Like, everybody in like the movie watching community was watching the show and stuff like that. It's good, but it's not the greatest things in sliced bread. I would rather watch, honestly, like I just talked about, The Simpsons or South Park or Family Guy or something like that, but Hazbin Hotel is alright. Number 10. How would you rank the MCU phases? I would go number 5 being probably phase 4. Phase 4 has Spider-Man, No Way Home, Shang-Chi, and... Gee whiz, is that it? I think so. What came out in Phase 4? There was Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, Thor, Love and Thunder, and Wakanda Forever. Yeah, Wakanda Forever is pretty good too, but other than that, I'm not a huge fan of Phase 4 at all. Don't even get me started with the shows. I don't really care about the MCU shows that much, so I don't even really acknowledge the shows. Number 4 would be Phase 5. Phase 5 has produced some pretty bad films too, but it's also produced some bangers. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Deadpool and Wolverine, I think, are better than everything in Phase 4 besides No Way Home. Well, I consider Guardians 3 better than No Way Home, but Deadpool and Wolverine, I think, is behind Guardians 3 and No Way Home, but Deadpool and Wolverine is my third favorite modern MCU film. Now, we'll get on to that movie a little later in question 13, but, yeah. My opinion, Phase 4 is at, or Phase 5 is at number 4. Number 3 is Phase 1. I like Iron Man. I like the Avengers. I like Captain America, the first Avenger. Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, and Thor 1, I'm not such a huge fan of, but they're alright. They're definitely better than the worst of Phases 4 and 5 and stuff like that. And even Phase 2, which, speaking of which, number 2 is Phase 2. Excellent movies with Guardians of the Galaxy, and, I honestly really like Iron Man 3, too. I probably like that film more than most people do, but Guardians of the Galaxy is such an important film for me that it's just... It brings a lot of points to Phase 2, in my personal opinion. I'm honestly not that big of a fan of Captain America the Winter Soldier. Believe it or not, I prefer the first movie over Winter Soldier. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not a huge fan of Captain America the Winter Soldier. But I like most of what Phase 2 has to offer overall. I wouldn't give many of the projects, except Thor the Dark World, under a 7 out of 10, so I think Phase 2 is awesome. But my number 1, I think, is pretty obvious. It's Phase 3. Phase 3, there's not one movie, with the exception of one movie, in Phase 3 that I don't like. I like every project in Phase 3 besides one film. And that one film is Captain Marvel. It's still not a bad movie, but I wouldn't consider it good either. I think it's a bit overhated, but still, it's definitely the weakest film of Phase 3 in my opinion. But most of the films this phase I love. You have Captain America Civil War. You have Spider-Man Homecoming. Thor Ragnarok. Black Panther. Avengers Infinity War. Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, so many excellent films came out in Phase 3 that it's one of my favorite phases of just movies in general. I love almost all films in Phase 3. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Doctor Strange 1, and Captain Marvel, I'm not a huge fan of, honestly, but they're alright. I don't know if, I actually kind of take it back. There's 2 films in Phase 3 I don't really like that much. I don't really like Ant-Man and the Wasp that much. But, I like Doctor Strange, but don't love it. I think every other film in Phase 3 I love. I think they're just so charming and fun, and so much emotion in the Avengers films, that Phase 3 is almost by far my favorite phase. Alright, I'm going to split the video here and do the second half of questions in part 2. I'll be back soon. Alright, we're back. Number 11, who is your favorite WWE superstar? I think I already revealed that with question 2, but my favorite modern superstar is Cody Rhodes. My favorite, well, technically he's modern too, but my favorite of all time is The Rock, but he only wrestles occasionally now. And my favorite diva is Rhea Ripley. Used to be Liv Morgan until SummerSlam, when I kind of started to hate Liv Morgan a little bit. Seeing Rhea's shoulder pop out just made my freaking skin crawl, so I was like, oh, I don't even want to say it, because I am more respectful than that. But, yeah, I'd say probably The Rock is my overall favorite WWE superstar, but my favorite modern wrestler who wrestles all the time is Cody Rhodes, and my favorite diva is, they still call it diva? I think so. I don't know if they took that away, but my favorite women's superstar is Rhea Ripley. And yeah, I have one more WWE question coming up, but we got a few more to go before we get to that. Number 12, what's your favorite Gordon Ramsay show? Kitchen Nightmares. Hell's Kitchen is a lot of fun and stuff like that, and I like Gordon yelling at a crew that he's trying to basically be his apprentice and stuff like that, but Kitchen Nightmares, I just like that Gordon comes to failing establishments, basically, and he taste tests their food at first, usually says it's absolutely horrible, and then follows them and gives them advice, makes them have like a night one with his assistants. I would say about half the time it's an absolute failure of a night and Gordon gets frustrated. But then he remodels the place, and usually they do a lot better after the remodel, but sometimes they don't. I think even once or twice it was just a complete failure. I like the elimination process of Hell's Kitchen too. It's more, I guess you could say, it's the same crew you go through every season, while Kitchen Nightmares is a different place every episode. I kind of like the different place every episode, too, as it gives a little more variety, but yeah, Kitchen Nightmares is my favorite Gordon Ramsay show. I love Gordon Ramsay in general. He's freaking hilarious. I'd like to meet him one day. Number 13, what is your opinion on Deadpool and Wolverine? Awesome movie. I loved it. I think it is my favorite Deadpool film. It's hard. I think the first one might actually be my least favorite. It's hard to pick between. Unlike most people, I'm a fan of Deadpool 2. I think that's, I don't know if that or Deadpool and Wolverine is better, but yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine was absolutely awesome. My favorite part of that movie, spoiler alert, if you don't want to get spoiled, you can skip to a certain point in the video. But just all the cameos from Wesley Snipes' Blade to Gambit to Chris Evans as the Human Torch. That was so awesome seeing him again. I actually thought it was Captain America at first, but it was the Human Torch. But the best part of the movie actually is the dynamic between Logan and Wade. This almost feels like a buddy cop type of relationship where they don't really get along at first and they get along better in the end. The ending fight with the whole army of Deadpools and stuff like that is freaking incredible. And yeah, I love Deadpool and Wolverine. My only complaint with the film, and it's a pretty big complaint, where's Colossus? Where's Negasonic? Where's Dopinder? Where's Vanessa? I really missed the actual Deadpool characters in this film. Besides, like, Blind Al, most of them only appear for, like, a minute or two in the movie. Especially oh my god, did I miss Colossus in this film. I really wish he would have at least shown up in the end or something like that. Like, his screen time was downgraded a little bit in Deadpool 2, but he says one or two lines in this movie, and that's a damn shame because I love Colossus. Other than Deadpool, he's my favorite character in the Deadpool universe. But, and he's probably my third favorite character behind Deadpool and Wolverine himself. Yeah, I love Deadpool and Wolverine, though. It's my third favorite MCU film post-Endgame, behind number 2, Spider-Man No Way Home, and number 1, which is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Number 14, what do you want for your birthday? I want to get a lot of wrestling merch, such as a Cody Rhodes t-shirt, a Rock t-shirt. I got a Cody Rhodes Funko Pop I want. I want to get the new WWE game. I used to love playing the WWE games when I was a kid, so I want to get that. Books, you know me. If you've known me for a long time, I like books, especially geography books. Want to try to get a candy box to try on camera like every other year. And yeah, it's going to be cool. My birthday haul will probably be out within the next 2 weeks. It's going to be around the time of my birthday, and hope you guys are looking forward to that. Number 15, what's your favorite video game on every Nintendo console? Okay. So the NES, I think my favorite game is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! I like playing it at the arcade a little bit more, as every time I go down to the Yestercade in Somerville, New Jersey, I always have a super fun time playing Punch-Out! Probably my favorite game behind Simpsons and Turtles in Time. My favorite Super Nintendo game is the very first Donkey Kong Country. One of my favorite platformers of all time. I just love the whole jungle atmosphere and the duality of Diddy and Donkey Kong. It's not quite 3D, but I'd almost call it 2.5D. Yeah, I love Donkey Kong Country. Nintendo 64 is actually a little bit hard. I love a lot of games, but I would ultimately go with Super Mario 64. It just means the most to me. I love playing it. I love trying. I've never really done a speed run for it, but if I had to pick a game to speed run for the very first time, I would say it would be Super Mario 64, but it's pretty close. Actually, I don't know. Like in quality, it's pretty close, but it has such a special place in my heart that I don't even think it's close. That Mario 64 is the best. Though quality wise, I would say Ocarina of Time, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and Banjo Kazooie come pretty close. Then you got the GameCube. My favorite GameCube game is. That's a tough one, too. These are a lot closer, but not really one specifically. It means more to my heart, so these are actually closer. So, Super Mario Sunshine, I love that game. I think it's very underrated. Luigi's Mansion 1 is great. Mario Kart Double Dash is my favorite Mario Kart behind DS. But I think I am ultimately going to have to go with Super Smash Bros. Melee. It's just such a great fighting game. It's got a smaller array of characters compared to later games, but just the combat system and the controls are so good that it's my second favorite Super Smash Bros. Game. Because we're going to go into Wii next, which by far my favorite Wii game is Super Smash Bros. Brawl. My all-time favorite fighting game and my all-time favorite Smash game. Maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia, but I just think it's got perfect amount of characters, perfect fighting system, excellent fighting stages, the trophies are cool. I just love everything about Super Smash Bros. Brawl. It's one of my top 10 favorite video games of all time. Wii U is a little bit hard. Wii U released some pretty good games, but it's probably the weakest lineup of Nintendo games in my opinion. But I will go ultimately with Super Mario 3D World. I think it's a pretty fun game. I would definitely say it's among the weaker 3D Mario games, but it is my favorite game of the Wii U, so yeah. Switch is going to be, I think you've seen a pattern, but Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I just think all the characters, all the worlds, it's just so cool how much they've added and how much hype this game got with every reveal. It was really sad when they had the final reveal of Sora, because I honestly think I would have liked to have seen like 10, 11 more fighters in the game. That would have been so cool, but we'll have to wait for the next Super Smash Bros. Game. Probably like 5 or 6 years. And yeah, that's my favorite. I'm not going to go through the handheld consoles because that would just take way too much time. But yeah. And speaking of consoles, 16, what's your favorite video game on every PlayStation console? Alright, so we'll go PS1 through PS5. PS1 is Final Fantasy IX. Really big contender for my favorite video game of all time. I absolutely adore this game. I think it's so much. It's got such a lovely story and a great combat system. Really charming characters. I will say that I think 7 and 10 have a probably slightly better character lineup as a whole, but the 3 best characters in the game, I think, are better, probably the best Final Fantasy characters of all time. I like Vivi, Quina, and Garnet. I think they're my 3 all-time favorite Final Fantasy characters. Zidane, or Zidane, I think as he's called, is pretty good. I prefer some of the other protagonists to him. Not a gargantuan fan of Kuja. I don't think anymore this is my actual favorite video game, but Final Fantasy IX means a lot to my heart, sort of like Super Mario 64. So it's probably in the top 5, but it's definitely not my favorite video game of all time anymore. PS2 is going to be Final Fantasy X, believe it or not. Um, I think the story is a tiny bit better in 9, but I do like the characters in 10 overall more. Um, I think Tidus is a better protagonist than Zidane, personally. I feel like Zidane is a little too similar to some of the other Final Fantasy characters, like Locke from Final Fantasy VI. I think Tidus' personality is more unique. Um, I like Yuna. I like Garnet a little bit better than Yuna, but Yuna's a great character with excellent summons that I love to use, or ions as they call them in this game. Um, Usually I like to use Tidus, Yuna, and Lulu. Lulu is an excellent black mage, and yeah, you have other characters like Auron and Kimahri and stuff like that. They're all really good characters. So I would pick Final Fantasy X as my favorite PlayStation 2 game. For the PS3, that's a little bit hard. Oh no, it's not. Never mind. Last of Us, obviously. Another contender for my favorite video game of all time. I just love this post-apocalyptic world and this adventure that Ellie and Joel go on, and the death of Joel's daughter is one of the most gut-wrenching scenes in video game history, so that's a punch to the gut. But yeah, I love The Last of Us to death. PS4 is a little bit harder because I'm not quite a fan of the exclusives as much as I am the first 3 PlayStations. But I will go with Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man is, if it wasn't for a certain game that will be up next, the best comic book game of all time. I love the swinging in the game. I love the story. I love all the different costumes you can go for Spidey. I like all the portrayals of the villains. But I do have to reveal PS5's next. My favorite PS5 game, which is Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is my favorite comic book game of all time. Not the one on the PS2 anymore, though, or the 6th gen version. I'm talking about the one that came out last year. Legitimately, this game is so much fun, and I love the duality between Miles and Peter in the game. I love how they portray Venom. I like all the mini stories you get to go through. It's such an awesome game. Alright, we'll move on to number 17 next. Which SpongeBob season do you think is the most overhated? I think the most overhated season of SpongeBob SquarePants is Season 6. Listen, I don't think Season 6 is a very good season or anything, but people almost like to act like it's apocalyptic. I don't think it's quite that bad. It's definitely a downgrade from Seasons 4 and 5 even, but 6 still had sandcastles in the sand and the slumber party and not normal, and I honestly am not too bothered by House Fancy. I hate the toenail scene, but I actually think the rest of the episode is one of the best episodes in the season, honestly. The episodes usually where Squidward is tortured, though, I definitely agree with, are terrible episodes, like Boating Buddies, and Cephalopod Lodge, Choir Boys, and especially Squid's Visit is my least favorite episode of the entire show. I hate everything about that episode. It just makes my skin crawl. But yeah, I think Season 6 as a whole is overhated. I think there's definitely good episodes. I would say more than half the season is just meh. I don't hate a lot of this season, is the point. I think season 7 is a lot worse. This is just. I think SpongeBob is at his most hyper until the really modern seasons in season 6. I think he does calm down a tiny bit in season 7, but I just hate the mean spirit and the freaking most of the other characters just being pricks. Like Patrick got a lot worse in season 7, and so did Mr. Krabs. SpongeBob got a tiny bit better in season 7, but anyways, season 6 is, I think, the most overhated season of the show. I think there's at least 3 or 4 seasons that are worse. Number 18, what's your favorite WWE era? My favorite WWE era is the Attitude Era. I wasn't alive for most of it. I was born in 2001, so I think I was born at the very end of the Attitude Era, so I didn't really get to watch it when it premiered, but through YouTube clips and now through Peacock, I've watched a ton of the Attitude Era, and you just can't beat Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Kane, The Rock, and so many others that were introduced during this era that I think are some of the best wrestlers of all time. I like the new era too, with like Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns to a degree. I don't think he wrestles as much as he used to, but Seth Rollins. But the Attitude Era is just hard to beat. I think that's the best period of wrestling ever. Love, love, love the Attitude Era. Number 19, what's your favorite gum flavor? Pretty much just spearmint. I actually don't know why I put this question. It's kind of random, but I was kind of trying to think of a question for here. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to go on about it for too long. I like spearmint gum. It makes your teeth clean, makes your breath smell good. So, yeah, I usually like to get Trident spearmint gum. That's my favorite brand. And last but not least for this 20 questions, number 20. What country do you have the most interest in visiting now? I think out of every country in the entire world that I just would pack up and go to right now, I think it would probably be the UK. And I'll tell you why. The UK speaks English. I'm not really good with any other language quite yet. Incredible history with some of the oldest buildings in the entire world. London is an absolute world-class city with excellent public transport. So many things to do. I love the Premier League, and I love Man United, which is my favorite. It's pretty much tied with PSG as my favorite soccer team of all time, so I'd love to go see a Man United match in the UK. I love the UK. I think it's such a cool country. It's going through a little tiny bit of, I don't know if you call it riots, but definitely protests right now over some pretty controversial stuff, which I will not get into. First of all, I'm an American, so I don't really have too much input on the things that are going on there right now. And second of all, even if I was British, I wouldn't talk about it because I don't really like talking about political stuff. I mainly like talking about the travel parts of geography and not really the political stuff. So I will leave that be. So I think out of any country in the entire world, if I had to visit it right now, I would probably say the UK. Australia would be a close second. Canada, I've already visited before, so I would go to probably a few more countries before I go back to Canada, but I love Canada too. France is also on my list. I just need to learn a little more French. Also have interest in Mexico. Very cool country. I just need to learn a little bit of Spanish. and Italy. Want to go to Italy very, and I gonna go to so many places, but I think I had to mark one country to go to right now to visit. It would be the UK. And yeah, that's about it for this video, guys. I hope you guys liked it. And another 20 questions I'm hoping to get out by the end of 2024. If not, you'll definitely get one sometime in 2025. And look forward to more content. The upcoming Preston GD Plush video should be out soon. I do have a plan to get another film series ranking out, or film studios ranking. It's going to be an animation studio, and I'll give you a hint. It is a studio that has some of the worst animated movies of all time, but also some of the best. Hope you guys look forward to that. That should be out probably within the next couple weeks. And that's about it. Gamey Do here. See you later. Bye.